Hi, this is Jennifer Donna. I'm the director of YoungFemaleEntrepreneurs.com, and you're watching Young Female Entrepreneurs, the weekly live stream that we do here in the Ovalite TV studio every Thursday night at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern. Make sure you stay tuned through this entire show because we have a fun announcement, we have some awesome updates, and we're speaking with Jordana of Embark Ability. It's going to be an awesome show. She is, like I said, full of enthusiasm, and she's going to get you motivated and inspired to reach new heights in your business, or maybe even just start up in the first place. So welcome onto the show, Jordana. Thank you so much for coming.
Of course. It's my pleasure. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, so, all right, let's go ahead and get straight into it because you've got Embark Ability, right?
Yes.
So what exactly does Embark Ability mean for the first question, I guess? I think that's a good one.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So, in coming up with a name for that company, it was definitely a very interesting experience. I remember sitting on my couch with two of my interns at the time, and we were like, what should we call this? And when it came down to it, I was like, well, what is it that I really want to convey? And what is it that I really want to help people do? And I wanted people to feel, I kind of see embarking as moving forward and taking a risk and taking a leap, whether it's a leap of faith or just a leap of action, and ability in the sense of being able to believe in yourself and that you have the ability to take that action.
So,
yeah,
as far as
Yeah,
no, that's fantastic. Well, I was looking at it and I'm like, embarkability, that's not something you say too often now. I'm going to embark on a journey. I'm going to embark on something. So I think that's a really profound statement that you're embarking on X, Y, and Z. So, but before you started Embarkability and the whole movement behind it, you were actually 24 years old and starting a professional organizing company. So you went to college, started a business. What happened between graduating from college and being 24 and starting a business?
Yeah, so great question. So I graduated in '04, and then for a year, I was an English major in college, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I thought that I'd probably take the English major route and end up doing some kind of magazine something, but I really wasn't ready to commit to that, and I wasn't ready to go to grad school. So with that in mind, I went abroad for the year because I thought that would just be a really convenient way to buy time, and that I don't know. I figured that a year from then I would know what I was going to do. So I go abroad for the year. I go to Israel to volunteer, and now it's a year later and I still don't really know what to do. And the job market was still probably okay, but after 3 months of not being able to get a job in
what year was that?
This was '05, fall of '05. So after not being able to get a job for 3 months in the magazine sector, I said, you know what, I just need to do something. So I took a job as an admin at a nonprofit, and I was there for a year, knowing that it was just going to be a year situation. And then I said, okay, time to leave and get the show on the road. So I left, and I started working at Child Magazine right before it folded, actually. And then I started writing for New York Family Magazine as a freelance writer to grow my portfolio. And I guess my intention was to ultimately then secure a job as an editorial assistant in the magazine world in Manhattan. But what had happened was that I guess now we're in winter of '07, and I decided, because I was freelance writing, that I'd go to my mom's house in Pennsylvania. I'm in New York, she's in Pennsylvania. And I said to myself, I'm going to probably get a job in the next few months. I'm not going to be able to spend so much time with my mom, or at least a month-long period of time. Let's take advantage of this and go on little vacation to Pennsylvania. So I went to Pennsylvania for the month and I did my freelance writing projects, but it didn't take a long time. And what I started doing was organizing the entire house. And with no intention of anything aside from the fact that I liked it. I had done it before and, no big deal. But because I was there for such a long time, I organized a lot more. And at one point during the time that I was there, my mom says to me, why don't you start your own business? And, what I say to a lot of people is that 9 out of 10 times when your mom says something, you don't necessarily listen to her, or whether she's right or not, you don't really listen, or you don't listen as quickly as might be in your best interest. But for whatever reason, whether it was because the stars were aligned or I was vulnerable enough or just ready to take any level of advice, I said, you know what? Okay, sure. Because at that point, what had happened was that writing was great, but it really wasn't fulfilling me. And I really wanted to help people and work one-on-one with people and really feel like I was making a difference. And organizing gave me that. So as scary as it was, because I didn't know the first thing about entrepreneurship at all, like absolutely beyond clueless, in a very scary way, actually. But I said to myself, the idea of feeling purposeless indefinitely is a lot scarier than not knowing anything about entrepreneurship, because it had been years at this point, or at least felt like years, where I kept saying to myself, what am I going to be when I grow up? And reading these books that I thought would give me these answers and writing all these lists of pros and cons. So I felt like I was really being thrown a rope, and I just grabbed it.
Well, so that's the big difference between you and others that I've spoken with, because what you described, it sounds like thousands and thousands of other girls right now are going through the exact same experience where they had this purpose in college and they said, I want to do this. Well, they graduate and in reality, that's just not something that they're going to be able to do, especially like getting jobs that, are writing for a magazine or being a PR coordinator. And so they are definitely considering entrepreneurship, but having that full-time job, looking for that, is still something that they're fully committed to. So what was the first step, I guess? Did you basically send out an email to a friend and say, hey, would you pay me to do this for you? I mean, what was the first step in saying, I'm going to do this? And telling other people, I guess.
So the first thing, so I was 24 at the time, and I felt like I didn't really have any professional credibility. Still to this day, you can't go to graduate school to be a professional organizer. And my mind, I think at that point, and I think a lot of people's minds are kind of like, okay, I graduate college, and then if I want to expand my horizons and expand my skill set, I'm going to go to grad school. So I guess I first maybe just double checked that grad school didn't give a professional organizing degree, but that was confirmed. I think I just started Googling some level of certification because I really did not feel confident and that I had any sort of foundation to start a professional organizing business. I know that at the time when I at least started, most professional organizers were in their 40s or 50s. It was a second career for them, and their credibility came from the jobs that they had before or just like life experience. And sure, I knew how to organize and I didn't really doubt that ability, but from a professional standpoint, I felt like I wanted that backing. So I Googled professional organizing certification, and I ended up going out to Utah for 5 days and got certified as a professional organizer by a company. So that was, I guess, step one. And then so that was spring of 2007. I did that. And then by fall, I started working with clients. And I had absolutely no idea what I was doing in the like I had no idea what I was doing. I was like the blind was just like fumbling. So I just did anything, I sent out announcements. I looked on Craigslist, I really had, I was like a fumbling mess, and that's cool. It took me a lot longer to get to where I wanted to go than I feel like it had to. And that's why I'm really so into helping other women now, because I feel like what took me 3 years can take people 6 months. And why waste those 3 years? So,
well, and it's funny because before you had to be a certain kind of person, I feel like, to be an entrepreneur, to go out and work for yourself. There was there was a financial risk that you put in 20 or 30 years ago when the internet wasn't available and you had to, and, professional organizing might not have been a profession you could have taken on. And nowadays, so you don't necessarily have to have that bug in your system to start that. It might just be out of necessity. So what is your advice to someone that was in your shoes and they need to do something, basically, and they have a passion and they want to get started? Would your advice be to go get certified, or would it be to just start working with people?
Yeah, it's very interesting. I needed to do the certification at the time for myself, but what I've learned over the years is that while it's important to really master your trade, I think people too often spend way too much time mastering the trade as opposed to mastering how to be an entrepreneur.
Absolutely. So, I mean, a big part of your story when you were saying it is there's something about confidence, a confidence issue, in that when you go and get going, you look at what's happening with the other women in the room. So what do you do within your program, within Embark Ability, that helps women get the confidence that they need to have in order to be an entrepreneur? Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that, it comes down to really getting clear on what your goals are, because once you get really clear on what you're heading towards and what your real big why is, you get so jazzed up about it that confidence kind of builds through that. So I think that's one branch of it. When you get so excited about something, that kind of compensates for the lack of maybe actual experience at the time. And then, the next thing in terms of confidence is just diving in. We can talk, it's kind of like swimming, right? You can talk about how big the pool is, and you can talk about, what water might feel like, and you can dip your toe in, but like, you can't learn how to swim without getting in the water. So really, like, confidence is built by using the muscle.
I like that analogy, because, I mean, you have your mom or your dad there coaching you on, saying you can do this is how you do it, and helping you survive. And so, and when you look at it in that sense, having someone there, having a coach or a program, participating in one, really does make sense. Now, when you actually did an article not too long ago in the Daily Love, and it was all about how to start a business almost for free, basically.
Totally.
On a zero budget is what you said.
Totally.
So are there any, out of the tips that you gave there, is there one big thing that you think would help someone that is starting literally with a zero budget, that has been unemployed for the last 6 months, that would get them set up?
Sure. So let's see, there were a lot of things that I said. So here's the thing, people complicate it for themselves, and they kind of forget the simplicity behind everything. So the first step is to, of course, figure out what your goals are, and to figure out, okay, how much do you want to make? How much time can you spend towards this? And who do you want to help, and how do you want to help them? And what I always recommend, if you want to start a business on a close to zero budget, you're going to want to start a service-based business, because a product-based business or a business in retail is going to cost a lot more in terms of overhead and inventory. So that's just something to consider. You need a lot more capital when it comes to those other kinds of businesses. So I always recommend a service-based business to start with. And then there's lots of things. The best thing to do, once you get really clear on you first need to get really clear on who you're helping and how you're helping them. But once you get clear on that, it's really a matter of telling everybody you know in a very massive way. And then really, like, I think people kind of think that they're going to tell everyone, but then they kind of don't tell everyone because they're scared what people might think, or, are they going to think that I'm bothering them or whatever? I mean, people's mindsets get in the way, but the more people you tell, it's kind of like a probability thing, right? So if you tell 1,000 people, maybe 200 will be interested, but if you tell 500 people, maybe only 100. So like, the more people you tell, the more likely you'll get a client. It's really as simple as that. So if you make a commitment, and the thing is, it doesn't even have to be people you know. It can be, let's say you're a massage therapist. Well, as a massage therapist, your ideal client might also work with an acupuncturist or a yoga instructor or a personal trainer or whatever else. So then what you do is that you Google personal trainers in your location, and you start networking with them and you start connecting with them. And all of this is free. It's totally free, and it just requires a computer.
So, all right, since we're on the topic of marketing and getting the word out, and I think you brought up a lot of interesting points right now, because I'm kind of at a crossroads within my own company where I'm thinking, lately I haven't been talking about it that often. I used to post it on Facebook, do all sorts of crazy stuff, and it's been interesting to see the feedback. I meet with people that I used to talk to, communicate a lot with about what's happening within my company, and they actually ask me, they're like, what's going on with you? Why are you telling us what's going on? And so that's been a fun twist of stuff recently as far as marketing for me personally. But I do like that. I think that's a great reminder that you really should be telling everyone you know about what it is that you're doing, especially because it's something that you love to do. Now, you've been quoted as far as within your own marketing strategy about saying that it's really important for you to follow up with people to make sure that you're constantly in contact with past clients, potential clients. Do you have a certain system that you've really put into practice?
Yeah. So, the first system I use, which I actually don't use currently, but I recommend to people, is Highrise, which is a website, highrise.com, and it's a really great contact database, and it's very user-friendly, and you can assign tasks to people. So I was using that a lot, and that was great. But for my own, I'm the type of person that really needs to see everything in front of me. And though everything was accessible through Highrise, I couldn't see it all in front of me. So it wasn't working to the degree I needed it to work. So now what I just do is I have this massive spreadsheet with lots of different tabs. And, so I have one tab for prospective clients, and then I have one tab for clients, and then I have one tab for people that I want to connect with, and then another tab for people that I've connected with but I want to keep in touch with. And that spreadsheet it's through Google Docs, so I can access it anywhere, and it's always open. So I'm constantly always making it a point to just because it's always open, it's in front of my face. It's like unavoidable. So you create a plan. So in terms of the people that I want to keep in touch with, once a month I'll shoot an email and just say, hey, checking in. How are you doing? How can I help you? And with clients, it's different, but because certain people need to be reached out to at certain points. But then I'll mark it in my calendar. Reach out to Jane Smith in 2 weeks, and then I'll do that. But it's really a matter of making that a priority. And I think what's very interesting is that I don't think that it's not that people don't want to follow up or don't know how to follow up. It's that they think that they're being pushy when they're really just being persistent.
I like that because I don't want to bug people because I know I'm like, oh, they're busy. I know I'm busy. I wouldn't want that. But yeah, I think persistence versus pushy, that's a great distinction. Now, we're running out of time, but I wanted to ask you about you're getting married.
Yes.
Congratulations, best wishes, whatever you're supposed to say now. It's a very, very exciting time planning a wedding. And we've talked to a few young female entrepreneurs that are doing that exact thing right now. And they've all it's an overwhelming process because you want to be full in and excited and, putting your creativity into planning a wedding, but you also want to add, focus your creativity in building your business. So how do you balance that?
So a few things. Number one, we have a 14-month engagement. So I don't know what the average engagement is, but that's given us more than enough time to get everything done. Another thing is that, you're not in it alone. You're getting married to someone. So, so my fiance and I do it together. We don't, it's not just all on me. And then it's just keeping perspective about what really needs to get done, what's really important. And I think sometimes people get really caught up in the whole wedding, but I'm excited to get married. I'm excited about our wedding, but it's just a wedding, it's just, it's like really bad that I'm saying that, but like, it's just a wedding, and it's really just 4 or 5 hours of your life, and it's lovely, but it's a wedding, and you're not getting married for the wedding. You're getting married to get married, and the wedding is just a party. So I think that it's really just a matter of, being organized, being really, like, I have a spreadsheet of wedding stuff. So it's really just a matter of being organized, being really clear on what needs to get done. And the great news is that there's beyond so many resources out there for for brides and grooms to get organized. So
is that going to be an eventual maybe part of your business and helping brides get organized?
I mean, that's an interesting idea. Probably, but yeah, I mean, I don't know, maybe if that came into play. But I really think it's just a matter of keeping things in check.
Well, there's some common threads here in everything that we've talked about, whether it's with school, with building a business, or with planning a wedding, in that it seems like you're someone that has things put into perspective. You realize what your priorities are, what your values in life are, and you have a very clear idea of what that is. And then you're extremely organized, which I think is something that seems more natural to you. Is that true?
I was also a professional organizer in practice for 3+ years. So if I was organized before then, I got really organized after.
Yeah, so let's just to nicely sum things up, because Embark Ability is a big program for you. That's something that you've really put all of your focus into. So as far as organization goes, does your program go over that at all, and how to get organized, how to put everything into perspective, how to map stuff out?
So that's a great question. So when I work with clients, it's 3 modules, and the first one is to clarify your goals. So it's really about getting really clear about how much money you want to make, how much time you want to be spending with your clients, and who you want to be working with, and how you want to be helping them. And until we really get clear on what those 4 components are, we're not going to move forward. So I kind of see that as being organized. And then the next step is to create a plan. And the plan is extremely organized in the sense that it's a 6-month goal that we break into monthly goals, that we break into weekly goals, that we break into daily goals. So what happens, what I hear a lot with my clients or with people that I'm speaking with, is that they don't know where to put their energy. And there's so many things that they could be doing that when they have like 2 hours to spare, where should they be putting their energy? So we create a plan for them so that it's really, really clear when they have those 2 hours, how they can best use it.
That sounds fabulous right now. I wish someone would just do that for me. But so where can we find you online so that everyone can follow up and make sure that I think you have the opportunity to book time with you too, right?
Definitely. So if you want to chat with me, I'd love to speak with you. I offer complimentary sessions. And if you want to do that, you can go to jordanajaffe.genbook.com. So that's JORDANAJFFE.GENBOOK.com. So you're more than welcome to do that. My website is Embark Ability. It's currently experiencing some technical difficulties, but it should be up and running in the next 24 to 48 hours. And we're also on Facebook and Twitter, and I'd love to connect with you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being on the show. Like I said, you guys, make sure that you connect with her, because I follow her on Facebook and on Twitter, and I love all the positive stuff that you put out there, and I think you're a great role model for young women. So wishing you the best of luck, and I'll definitely stay in touch and find out what happens with the wedding and Embarkability and everything that you do.
Definitely. Thanks, Jen.
All right. Thank you. So everyone, you've been watching the Young Female Entrepreneurs live stream, and thank you so much for all of your patience through the show. We had a great time talking with Jordana. Make sure that you follow up with her, book some complimentary time, get those goals organized, get your priorities set straight, and show up next Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern, where we will have a new live stream set up for sure. We're very excited about it. It's going to be super cool. So make sure that you show up next Thursday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern at youngfemaleentrepreneurs.com/live, and register for YFECon at yfecon.com. Thanks, guys. Have a great week.